Welcome to CBSE English Tutorial, a visual guide.
All right, with your board exams just around the corner, we're going to dive deep into a poem that is almost guaranteed to show up, Kamala Dass's My Mother at 66. And in the next few minutes, we are going to break down everything you need to know to absolutely ace any question that comes your way. So, let's get right to it. What are the big-ticket questions that examiners just love to ask about this poem? Well, they pretty much always circle back to three main things: that core feeling she talks about, the huge contrast she sets up, and of course, what that final smile is all about. And today, we are going to nail the answers to every single one. So here's our game plan. We'll start with the heart of the poem, that familiar ache. Then we'll look at the powerful inside versus outside contrast. After that, we'll decode that key simile, the late winter's moon. We'll figure out what's behind that parting smile, and we'll finish up with a quick toolkit of all the poetic devices. Ready? Let's go. Okay, first up, the core emotion. You see, to really get this poem, you have to understand the central feeling that drives the whole thing. And the poet gives it a name, that old, familiar ache. Now, what's so powerful here is that word, familiar. This isn't some new feeling she's having. It's that deep, primal fear we all have as kids, that terror of losing your mom. But now, as an adult, seeing her mother looking so old and frail, that old childhood fear is coming crashing back. But this time, it's mixed with the very real, very painful truth of aging and death. This line right here is the absolute heart of the poem. It's the bridge that connects the past, that little kid's fear of being left alone, to the present moment, sitting in the car, facing the hard reality that one day that separation will be permanent. The key thing to remember is that this ache isn't just a memory. It's happening all over again. So, the poet has this intense, painful feeling. How does she make us, the readers, feel it too? Well, she uses a brilliant technique, contrast. And trust me, this is a huge favorite for exam questions. It's all about how she puts two totally different worlds right next to each other. So you really have to ask yourself, why does she do this? Why go from describing her mother, pale and old, to suddenly talking about sprinting trees and happy kids? It's not random. It's a very deliberate and super effective move. And this table just lays it out perfectly. Inside that car, it's all stillness, quietness, decay. It's about things ending. You have the mother dozing, her face looking almost lifeless. But then you look out the window and bam, it is an absolute explosion of life and energy. The trees are sprinting, the kids are spilling out of their homes. It's all action and vitality. And here's the so what, the reason this is so important. All that vibrant, energetic life outside makes the quiet decay inside the car feel so much more tragic and profound. The contrast basically turns up the volume on the sadness. It's a clever way to make us feel the full weight of her mother's age and the poet's own heartbreak. Okay, on to our next big point for your exam, analyzing the poem's most important simile. I'm telling you, if you can explain this one well, you are going to rack up some serious marks. At the airport, she looks at her mother one last time and compares her to a late winter's moon. Now, why that specific image? I mean, think about it. What does a late winter's moon feel like? What does it look like in your mind? This comparison just works on so many levels. A late winter's moon is usually kind of hazy, maybe foggy. It doesn't have that brilliant, sharp shine you see in summer. It lacks brightness, and that's just like her mother's face. Pale, colorless, without the vibrant energy of her youth. They both represent the end of a cycle. The moon is at the end of winter, and her mother, sadly, is nearing the end of her life. All right, let's get to the end of the poem, which is just so incredibly powerful. Unpacking the meaning of the poet's smile is almost always a long answer question, and it's your chance to really show you get the deeper layers of the poem. So what is actually going on in this moment? I mean, she's filled with this awful ache, this terror of loss. And her only response is to smile and say, "See you soon, Amma." It seems weird, right? Is she just putting on an act? What's behind that smile? Let's break it down. First off, that smile is a mask. It's a brave face she's putting on to hide how scared she is. Why? Because she doesn't want to upset her mother. Then you have the words, "See you soon, Amma." That's a little bit of hope she's trying to give, both to her mother and maybe, just maybe, to herself. And finally, that repetition. Smile, and smile, and smile. A real happy smile doesn't need that much effort. This shows the immense struggle it's taking to hold back her real emotions. Okay, home stretch. Think of this as your last-minute revision cheat sheet. This is your toolkit with all the key literary techniques you'll need to spot and analyze to get those top marks. So, let's do a quick-fire round. We've got 2 killer similes, her mother's face like a corpse and like a late winter's moon. We've got personification, where the trees are given the human ability to sprint. Then there's that huge contrast we talked about, old versus young, decay versus life. You have the repetition of smile showing her inner battle, and of course, the incredibly vivid imagery of those married children spilling out, which just brings that scene to life. And that leaves us with one final, powerful question to think about. Is that smile a lie? Is she deceiving her mother? Or is it actually the greatest act of love possible, shielding someone you care about from your own pain? If you can explore that idea in your exam answer, you'll end on a really strong, thoughtful note. Good luck.
Thank you for watching. See you again in a bit.